So we're going to go live. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. This is Angelique from the Superwomen Babes Club with Maxine. And as you can see, I'm trying to focus on Maxine for the Facebook Live, but we're also recording it on Zoom so that we can upload it. Today, I asked Maxine, who is a Calling Into One coach, to enlighten us about the anecdotes of transformation since she started working with clients on this process. And of course, Maxine, you know, I think it's impossible to actually do a study of this type of work and not be affected yourself. So I asked Maxine, how did becoming a Calling Into One coach actually affect her? And then after that, to actually talk about some case studies of how people have been affected by this profound deep work. And I just wanted to say, I have been studying Catherine Woodward Thomas' work, and I've just been updating my knowledge on her work through watching some interviews with her. And I just wanted to really acknowledge how deep the Calling Into One process is, because when you actually listen to the word Calling Into One, a lot of us might be very skeptical and think, oh, it's another one of those superficial law of attraction sales gimmicks, you know, it's like, think about the lover of your life and be happy and you don't have to do anything at all. Actually, the Calling Into One process is nothing like that. I would almost compare Calling Into One to a deep psychoanalytical process of transformation, healing, and taking critical responsibility, looking at all the defense strategies that we have and all the identity, the self-false images that we've made up because of what has happened in our childhood or even later on in a relationship. So I'm not going to say more, but I'm just very excited to hear Maxine, her story. And yeah, please, Maxine, tell us about this, how it affected you yourself when you became a Calling Into One coach.
Lovely, thanks. Hi, Angelique. Hi, everybody. I can't see who's live, if anyone's joining us live right now, but welcome. That is a great summary, Angelique. Calling in the one, the actual process is hugely transformational. We mentioned yesterday on the podcast about it being about looking at the internal blocks that prevent you having the love you want in your life and creating transformation from within. So training as a coach it was extremely profound for me. I mean, I've done a lot of personal development. I'm a trained psychotherapist. I've been studying personal development for the last 20 years. I've done all the Tony Robbins. I've done, leadership with Tony Robbins. Lots and lots of different modalities. And so I have a huge understanding of psychology. But one of the things I think that I really gained from a personal perspective on, doing the coach training is there is an emphasis on taking 100% radical responsibility for all areas of your life. So when one does that, what happens is over and over again, happiness starts from within, your own happiness. I started to look at the areas of my life where I wasn't happy, and particularly at that time, I was still working in a corporate environment as well. So I had a corporate career and I was doing my coaching part-time on the side. And my corporate life was the one area of my life fundamentally out of complete alignment with who I am as a person. That didn't represent my true being. It didn't support my purpose in the world. And it was draining. It was emotionally draining, physically draining. We all know to show up in life as something that you're not takes a lot more of our energy. So one of the conclusions that I came to was that I had to, stop my corporate career. And I think that if I hadn't have done the training and trained as a coach and decided that I'm responsible for my life and my happiness, and to shift my perspective to really loving myself completely, and I'm talking about like a real transformation in love for myself, I would never have had the courage to leave my corporate job, which I did in December, and to go out on my own and to really, you know, follow that through as me being my true self in the world. So that in itself was a profound shift. So I think, you know, the way I would frame it up is I shifted my power from my false sense of self to my true sense of self, so that I could show up in the world complete and whole. And the impact of that is I'm just, you know, incredibly happy. It's just like, you know, I get so much joy from doing this work and doing the work I'm here to do every single day. It's had a huge impact on every single area of my life. And then the second side of things, from the dating perspective and the relationship perspective, you know, I have to be honest, at the moment I am single, and I, you know, in the past, being single was something I absolutely detested and hated. And, you know, I think there was a bit of me that was coping with it and getting along with it. And now I'm in a sort of place where when I used to date, when I would sort of be going out on dates, I was really looking for the approval from men in my life. And what was really interesting is I would attract a lot of very, what I perceived to be, you know, successful, powerful men. But they weren't necessarily the type of man that I really, really sort of wanted, that I had a deep connection with, that I had a sense of, you know, where I could have a relationship that was really fulfilling and really loving. And there were always things about them that just weren't suitable to me. And what was really interesting is, even though I knew that on a conscious level, I would still try to make the relationship work. So I'd still try to get them to love me and to like me, and very often they would. But even when I knew that they weren't what I wanted, does that make sense?
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
you're basically letting go of your own standards to actually just to get to be in a relationship, no matter what.
Absolutely. I would continue dating even though I knew that person wasn't a match for me, and it literally would be for a number of reasons. One, I wanted their approval and I wanted their love. Two, these people were generally quite, you know, they had a lot of success and power, and I think at the time I was really disowning my own success, my own power, and so I was projecting out there that actually I needed someone who was these things in order to me to feel complete in myself. So, you know, it was fulfilling, you know, a false belief about myself. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that was what was happening was, you know, I found in these relationships that I had real difficulty in really communicating and owning myself. So I would change the way I was in order to fit in with them. And what I learned through, you know, the calling in the one process and really stepping into my own authority and my own power and my own belief in myself, and just really honoring myself from a really deep place, so really honoring who I am, is that actually I'm not looking for approval from someone. I was needing to approve myself and to believe in myself. And when I've sort of found that place within myself where I, you know, really have a true acceptance of me and who I am, and really loving and honoring me, then, you know, when I'm dating a man now, I'm coming from a completely different perspective. You know, I can see very early on. In fact, you know, I met a man last year that I felt, you know, quite in love with, and he was amazing catch. You know, the way us ladies term a catch as a man. And you know, I could see really clearly that he just wasn't right. He wasn't consciously right for me. He wasn't emotionally what's the word? You know, literate. He didn't have emotional capabilities like I had. And although he was really, really lovely, you know, it was easy for me to say no to him because of the simple fact that, you know, I knew in my heart that I would never ever be happy in a relationship where someone didn't have a certain level of emotional abilities and consciousness, and who wasn't really interested in evolving that aspect of themselves. So that, so it's a huge shift, huge shift. And now in dating, I actually know that my man is out there. I know that he's coming to me. I know that I don't have to worry about it. It's just like I've just sort of let go of it, and I'm focusing. I love what my life is about, what my purpose is, and I just know without a shadow of a doubt that I'm going to meet him, and that's good. It's fine. It's okay. It's just and I'm just enjoying being in the place that I'm in within myself.
Okay, because I think a lot of the prejudice about people doing the soulmate work is that people that do it tend to think about love is something that you get rather than love is something that you generate from within because of who you are, because of all the things that you have to conquer within yourself, and because of what you're going to give to the world, right? And so
Yeah.
I think when I talk to a lot of men and they complain about, here again is a desperate woman who wants a relationship, I can completely resonate with it because I was a desperate woman when I was much younger. And what it was, and you're probably aware of level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 love in the model of Tony Robbins. We were living in a model where love was coming from outside. Love was something experienced through the experience of somebody else soothing us or somebody else giving something to us, rather than love being something that we generated from inside because of knowing who we are, because of knowing of our true value, because of actually we are living our best lives and we are already full, we're already complete. And we are not going to, and when we're dating somebody, we're just happy to make a new friend. That person is not there to make us feel whole or complete or not wounded or unloved, right? Which is where level 3 comes in. And not a lot of people live on level 3. I mean, and a lot of times, even when you know what level 3 love is, you can be triggered into level 1 and level 2, which is baby love and bartering, trading, or whoring, as Tony Robbins would say. No, thank you so much for sharing this, Maxine. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful testimony to the depth of the work that you've done. Could you maybe explain, how it has worked with some of the clients that you've worked with, like, of course, anonymously, because I think examples like this will help our audience to maybe check inside, whether there's something that they can look at that could help them have that, that joy of life that is not dependent on meeting their soulmate. Because, first, I think you need to meet the soulmate within yourself. You have to be the one for yourself, and then you can probably go out there and recognize that other person more properly. So maybe if you could give a little bit more anecdotal evidence of, people that you worked with.
Yeah. Sure, absolutely. And I think, you've hit a nail on the head there in terms of, the soulmate relationship. It's, we're always looking for the one externally when we forget that actually we are the one. We are a huge, we are a source of pure love. From my perspective and my belief system is that, one of our sole purposes here on the planet is to be an expression of love and to simply, as in Course in Miracles says, to remove the blocks and the obstacles to love. So one of my clients that I've sort of been working with, and she's gone through the program. She's gone through the program once, and actually she's having coaching again at the moment, just really to help integrate, because when she started the program, she was single. And now she's dating. So what tends to happen, when we date and when we start a new relationship, it triggers what we call the false love identity. So we have a true love identity and we have a false love identity. And the false love identity is when we're in an incomplete sense of self around love. And it's when all our wounds and our childhood references and our experiences and our belief systems get triggered, and we begin to relate and orientate from that place. So I'm going to give this lady the name Anna, just for the sake of, makes it easier, nicer to be able to talk about someone's name, but just to hide her own confidentiality there. But one of the things about this lady was she was extremely successful. I mean, a really, really successful career. She had, had been married previously, and the marriage had reached the stage of, reached the stage of divorce, and primarily because the lady had spent so much time focusing on her career. And she had one of the beliefs that came out as part of the coaching, and that her false love identity was based around, was that she had to be perfect. And as a result of being perfect, one of the things that happened was she was 100% committed to everything, and she was actually very committed to her marriage and her relationship. But as part of the coaching, what we uncovered is that she had a belief system that said she can't have both. She can't be really, really, really successful and have a happy relationship in her life. So from her perspective, eventually she was offered a job, which her husband said to her, "You can't actually turn that job down." It was like the most amazing job. And she fulfilled her own underlying belief and assumption that she couldn't have both through, manifesting, creating this job. So what happened is, as a result of the success and the perfectionism in her life, she was very much, the way she operated was that she was disconnected from her feelings. In fact, in the coaching, at one point when we sort of were talking about love, she actually said to me, "Well, I don't even know, I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what love is anymore. I don't," she was actually numb, really numb in her feelings. So not allowed to have any needs or any wants and desires. So although she had an outward success in terms of all the trappings of success, inside she was, she felt dead. She felt really, really dead. And so when we went through the coaching process, it is an intense process. It's not for the faint-hearted. I don't work with everybody, because you have to be emotionally available to do the coaching. Yeah. And what happened is, when she sort of uncovered these beliefs and she started to look at them and look at where they were coming from, she had to go through the process of letting go of the beliefs and challenging the beliefs, and really begin to look, okay, well, where did this come from in my life, and is it really true? And what happened is, she realized that in her true sense of self, she was the one and only. I mean, literally, that phrase, the one and only, "I am the one and only," came out in her coaching as a what we call a love power statement. And she now aligns her life to living from that sense of purpose. So she orientates from, well, if I'm the one and only, and if I really, really love myself, what would I do to take care of myself? And, from a woman who didn't have time to, go to the gym, didn't have time for massages, didn't have time to, read books, meditate, do really healthy self-love things, she has completely shifted. She, sets boundaries at work. She actually, takes time in the week to do things for herself. Whereas before, she wouldn't leave the office until really late. So that is what I call an awakening to loving herself completely at a really, really deep level. And recognizing that she is enough. She is the one and only, and that when she comes from that place, then she can draw in a relationship where someone will relate to her from that perspective. Do you understand the whole emphasis on that?
Yeah. What I heard from you describing her is that she's been extremely living in the masculine. Women that are very successful tend to be very career-oriented, achievement-oriented, which actually almost, in a way, makes them live too much in their analytical mind and their logical mind, and then it actually makes them have no time, or it's just not a priority to actually cultivate the more feminine traits, which are more about relationship, which are more about connection, caring, but also just feeling in a deep sense, you know, the love for life, you know, or even sadness. Feelings don't have a place in the world of a very successful woman, because it's really inconvenient. And I know that from my corporate world. I know that from working with my alpha male clients and my alpha male co-workers, and it's a very, very painful place, because I think all these successful women, you know, they do not necessarily experience deep contentment or deep fulfillment, and then we think what are we doing wrong, because we really then sometimes apply these strategies of the alpha male, of alpha female and alpha male into our love life, which completely derails any success. It doesn't bring any success in a relationship with an alpha man, or a man, even with a man who are more feminine. Because if you have too much of the boss, the CEO running around your love life, you know, you're not coming from the heart. You're not coming from connecting with that other person who's also vulnerable, and more importantly, we're not connected to our true self, which is sometimes, you know, the alpha female, a successful woman, is sometimes just an overcompensation for a lot of things that we feel inadequate about, right? Yeah. Hi.
No, it's absolutely, it's quite interesting when you sort of talk about the masculine and feminine. So a typical thing that would happen to her is she would go to, say, you know, like an art gallery opening or something, and there would be, you know, very, you know, men there, etc. And instead of them talking to her about the art, they would talk to her about business instead, because she was very much in that space energetically of the masculine. So they would relate to her. They actually wouldn't even see her. I mean, she's gorgeous. She's a very attractive woman. But they wouldn't see that side of her, because energetically she was pushing out a very masculine way of relating. And part of that was fed into, and part of that was perpetuating her belief system of, I can't have both. I can't have love and be successful. And so, you know, one of the principles in Calling in the One is that we're really looking at where are we situated, where are we orientated in our consciousness. And wherever we're orientated in our consciousness, we're going to create from that place. And we're going to have, you know, situations that confirm that belief system within us, you know?
Yeah. I'm just going to check the time. Could you check the time, Maxine? Have we 15 minutes?
It's 4:25. We've been talking for 20 minutes?
Yeah, we'd have to stop the recording right now. So
okay, cool.
So we'll stop the recording on the on this one, but we can continue